So the Wholesome One has gotten as much information put together on spring practice as possible. And there seem to be a number of players that you're really focused on. Keyshawn Smith would be on that list.
That's answer number one. One of the big conversations, a lot that happens with wide receiver or running back is who is going to take RB1? Who's going to take wide receiver one? Who wants to be that man? Who's going to take this team by the horns? Well, the number one thing we don't have to worry about is quarterback. For the first time in a while, well, maybe since 2020 with De'Aaron King, we were kind of focused in on quarterback. We didn't have to really worry about quarterback, but we have TBD. And the way that TBD has things going, the way that he has us really focused offensively, I think Miami's ready to, kind of solidify themselves in that sense. Now, let's move it on outside from TBD. One of the biggest names coming out of spring ball is Keyshawn Smith. Now, we've had 2 days of full pad practice. A lot of people are waiting on Mark. Back in high school when you play, that's when everybody shows up. And when you play Pop Warner or Little League, as we call it in South Florida, okay, that's when everybody want to show up to see who gonna hit. Okay, and Coach Cristobal's practices have been very physical the entire time, so we haven't had to wait until the pads come on. I mean, I've seen pictures and videos of O-line, D-line going head-to-head with just helmets on. So it's been nothing but real aggressive style of play out of our players. So Keyshawn has been the man that has taken this spring ball kind of by the horns and made plays in both days. It really stood out. Touchdown at the touchdown, bomb at the bomb, fade route up the fade route. He's doing his thing. Other young men that have stood out on the wide receiver court, Rashard Smith in the slot, according to some who have watched, said whenever he touches the ball, it seems like he's going 60 to the end zone. Whether they're doing live special teams, whether they're doing, true 11 on 11, and he takes the ace jet to the crib and no one touches him, or he takes a tunnel screen. He's also working right now behind Xavier Restrepo as the second string slot. So what that also means is that he's going up against the second and third team defense. And we have to be able to say that and put that out there because we don't want to add too much unnecessary pressure to Rashard and making it seem like he's this amazing prospect just yet. He's doing it against the guys that are on his level on the second and third team until they can get up to the first team. One of the other players that's been standing out is a pair of offensive tackles that I've come to you and talked about multiple times, Mark. I was very, very big on Michael Mclaughlin when he committed. Very big on Michael Mclaughlin being able to get a red shirt and kind of hold out for a bit and sit in the cooker, something that hasn't happened at Miami in years. Even to the days of Eric Flowers, which is about 10 years ago now, he was thrown out there as a true freshman. Chantrell Henderson was thrown out there as a true freshman. Brandon Linder was thrown out there as a true freshman. Zion Nelson, John Campbell, the list goes on and on and on of Miami's better offensive linemen being just thrown out there because we didn't have anyone else. Well, with these two, Chris Washington and Michael Mclaughlin, they're both year 3 guys. They were both COVID redshirters. So they sat and really got in the weight room, and one had to climb from 240, 250. Now he's in the 300s with Michael Mclaughlin. Chris Washington climbed from about 260 up into the 290, 295 range. So Chris Washington has been working at right tackle. Some video has surfaced of him going one-on-one with borderline 5-star Cyrus Moss, edge rusher, where it really showed what it means to be in a strength and conditioning program for a couple years, as opposed to only being there for a couple weeks. And that's not to slight Cyrus. That's just speaking the truth. He's a young guy who is a little wiry, a little light in the behind at 6'6", 218, playing defensive end, learning and transitioning to a true defensive end position. And at left tackle, he's also taking the second team reps in Michael Mclaughlin, number 79. He's taking the second team reps, but that's because he's behind one of the conference's better offensive tackles in Zion Nelson. So those are some of the young men that have been standing out according to all the outlets I was able to do research in, on all the film I was able to evaluate. Some on offense, majority on offense. Now, let's give you some of the defensive standouts. Okay. One of the guys who I'm thoroughly surprised and really happy to hear positive stuff coming from him. Number 91, Jordan Miller. This young man is going into his 5th year at Miami. And 5th year, 19, 20, 21. 4th year at Miami. I talked about it every single week. Reshaped his body. Now he has to actually go out here and start making plays. Well, he's doing that. And I think the specificity of having a defensive tackles coach than having an edge coach is really helping these guys get some real one-on-one work and true one-on-one growth. What I mean by that is Coach Joe Salavea is coaching the defensive tackles. Okay, Coach Rod Wright is working the edge, and Jason Taylor is working the edge also. So the reason why I bring up Jordan Miller, Mark, there's this particular drill. It's called 2-on-1 double team work. What that means is you really get your 1 or 2-eye techniques get going. Your defensive ends do this against tackles and tight ends. But your interior linemen do this against centers and guards. Your 3 techniques do this against tackles and guards. So what the objective in this drill is to do is to really mimic inside run from a one-on-one perspective. What that means is everyone understands that it's run. What you have to do as a defensive lineman is identify what type of block you're getting. Who should I attack? Who should I shed? Who should I avoid? Am I quick enough to be able to swim right over and get back in the A-gap? Or am I too slow when I try to swim that they're just going to wash me down and now the A-gap is wide open? So you have to be able to make these quick decisions like that. With Jordan Miller, he's going up against Ja'Kai Clark, Cleveland Reed. Cleveland Reed's playing right guard, Ja'Kai Clark is playing center, and he's in a 2-eye technique, okay, inside shaded guard. So in this particular rep, it was beautiful. What the play was for Cleveland Reed to take over the block and Ja'Kai Clark to come around more like a puller. So Jordan Miller engages with Cleveland Reed, waits to see the pull, and just club swims him right over the top, sit and tackles the running back in the backfield. And I'm like, yes. That's what we need. And I get excited about defensive tackle. That's what I play. And it's important to me because to get young men to be able to get it, to get them to be able to react in an instant like that, because you don't know, they could have just double teamed him, but he reacted to the block properly. And for coaches, that's all you ask, is that can you translate what we do in drills? Can you translate what I've been hammering home to you in film, to one-on-ones, and then eventually over to 11-on-11? That's what we need. And Jordan Miller, sure, it was just one play, but it stood out to me. And I feel like you got to give young men, especially while we're in the media, if I was in those facilities, I would just give them a check, a positive, and tell them keep it going. But for those of us in the media, it feels good to be able to give these young men their pats on the back and not to overemphasize or make them seem like these larger than life, amazing. He's not the next Ndamukong Suh, but for me, he deserves some love. Why? Because I'm media, man. I'm not there every day. And if he were to make a bad play, I would be on him. So if he makes a good play, let's give him some love. So that's Jordan Miller. The next guy is a guy, Mark, that you watched on national TV get 5 plays and make 4 of the 5 plays he was in Leonard Taylor. Now, Leonard is rolling with the 1, so he didn't go up against the backup offensive lineman with the first team center. He goes up against Zion Nelson at left tackle and Logan Sagapolu at left guard. He's working in some guard work. Okay. So it's a down block, but it's a double team. So what that means is he's in a 3 technique, and the person that he has to attack is the guard. So when he steps and attacks the guard, he has to turn his shoulders so that when the tackle tries to push him, he's pushing him into the gap. As opposed to if he engages like this and now that tackle comes down and now he's washing me out of the play. So you have to be able to get the inside hand and get the inside of that padding and extend while pulling down on this side of the pad and turning the guard while simultaneously bending your knees and sinking into the B gap. Okay, now as I was able to demonstrate that, it takes a while to get young men to do that at full speed. Okay. Mark, this man just made it look easy. I mean, just boom, boom, shoot, and just sat. Just they couldn't move him, and just little things like that. It stands out to me that he's getting it. And as a year two guy, he can start to show what is required of a 5-star, and that's dominance. Okay, when you get that 5th star, you're listed as one of the top 5 players in the country. We got to see you do something. And he did some things good as a freshman. We got to start to see that great level. Because to me, Mark, 5 stars are 3 and done. So that means this upcoming year, you need to start looking like the late first rounder. In the 3rd year, you need to start looking like the top 15 pick if you truly are a top 5 player in the country in your recruiting class. So those are some guys on offense and defense that have stood out in spring ball the first 2 practices.